the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and Pharaoh, bro.
Monty and the Pharaoh. The Monty and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Duh.
I'm having a wonderful time with Monty and the Pharaoh, and I'm going to put him in the crossface, and he's going to go down right now. Yeah.
Hey! Nikita Koloff, the Russian Nightmare! And you're watching the #1 show on Long Island with Monty and the Pharaoh.
I'm so privileged to be sitting with you guys today, man. I woke up in Tampa Bay. Now I'm sitting here doing the #1 wrestling show, probably to me in the country.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty the Pharaoh, only seen here live at Indie Music TV with a special Saturday show with ECW legend Bill Alfonzo. Bill, it's been about 2 years, brother.
Hey, Daddy, I love it. I catch your show all the time, your variety show. I love it. Every time I get a chance, I check it out. And I wore my shirt you gave me 2 years ago with Crazy Looking For, and I found it, Daddy. You guys are my boys.
My favorite wrestler from those ECW days. The whole yes, you can curse on this show. The whole show, Rob Van Dam. Your thoughts when he went into the Hall of Fame? I, of course, was absolutely thrilled. By the way, why did you not induct him? What's wrong with them? But your thoughts on the whole...
Well, they were limited on the people because they're real limited on...
but you're Fonzie. Limited?
Right. But what did happen that you guys don't know about, before the Hall of Fame, you know they're doing the documentaries to be released I think in late May, RVD, the whole show. Vince McMahon flew 2 cameras, 2 camera crews, a sound guy and a producer to my house, interviewed me for 3.5 hours to be a part of that documentary, which is coming out soon. And then they followed us out to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and Van Dam, myself, and Katie did the main event. And of course, we stole the show. He's still bad. Madison Square, and Vince sees me, and all the guys are ringside, you know, talking and boys working out in the ring and stuff. And he says, "Hey, Fonzie, come over here." He says, "Fonzie, you look great. All you other referees, come over here." So all the referees came over. They were in Zubas, T-shirts, tennis shoes. And he says, "Hey, you see how Fonzie's dressed? From now on, at any pay-per-view, any TV, any big show, I want you to dress just like this." So all the other referees got pissed off at me because they said, "Hey, Fonzie, why are you going to dress like that?" Well, why not? You know, I don't want to look like a guy from the audience. You walk in, you don't have blonde hair and 22-inch guns like Hogan. You know, if you're not freaking sharp looking, I don't think you're from the audience. So I walk in with a beautiful student and say, "Hey, who is that?" "He's somebody, but oh, that's the referee." Boom. So Vince liked me for many reasons. we did a pull apart. It was Bam Bam Bigelow against, God bless him, Bam Bam Bigelow against Tatanka, where they were shooting an angle, and then they worked for like 3 or 4 months together. So they did a pull apart, and the referees got in there, and I told Bam Bam before the pull apart, I said, "Hey Bam Bam, I shouldn't put my hands on you because I'm 162 pounds. You're 320. You're a beast. So I'm going to be the first one to you. You see that trash can about 40 feet over there?" I said, "Just throw me into the trash can like a bullet." So they did the fight. We did the pull apart. I'm the first guy there. And Bam Bam launches me like a freaking bullet. I fly into the trash can, take a perfect bump, not a scratch on me. And after the scene, Vince calls me over and says, "Fonzie, who told you to do that? Who told you to go flying into the trash can?" I said, "Nobody, but I thought it'd be cool because I'm 160 and Bam Bam, is bad." I'm so privileged to be sitting with you guys today, man. I woke up in Tampa Bay. Now I'm sitting here doing the #1 wrestling show, probably to me in the country. Love you guys. You guys have been around a long time. You put the thing that happens to me all the time is I get busted open. I get busted up. I got titanium. Steel, titanium plates, screws. The other day I went through a table and I thought I broke my elbow. Get a big gash in my arm.
He's still going through tables?
Yeah, I'm
what
still doing that crazy shit. And I'm volunteering to do this. They don't say, "Hey Fonzie, would you mind going through a table?" I say,
great.
"Hey, don't you think if I do this and that and you guys smash me through a freaking table, that'd be pretty cool?" "Oh, we love it, Fonzie." "Yes, of course." Then when I'm laying on the table like this and seeing a guy do the chair top rope and fly in the midair about 30 feet, I say, "What the hell did I just do?"
That's great.
Bam!
That's great.
My bell rung quite a few times. I've had major concussions, and it's showing a little bit now. You know, like the football players, they get concussions, they suicidal, they thoughts. I've in the last 3 years, I don't even want to admit this, but it's true. I'm trying to save the other guys too. In the last 2 years, I have woken up not with any drugs or alcohol in my system. I woke up 3 times in the last 2 years, not knowing where the fuck I was at. It had to take me about 15 minutes to think, "Damn, I live here? Is this my place?" My girlfriend says, "Go look in the closet, babe." I said, "What?" You know, it was very fearful when you don't recognize things. But it just lasted 7 minutes. One lasted 8 minutes. One lasted 12 minutes. And it happened 3 times. And I think it's directly from the concussions and a little bit of the abuse of alcohol and so on throughout all the years. But I think it's 90% concussion rate because I've had several. I've had at least 10 concussions where 4 of them I had to be rushed to the hospital and get stitched up or stapled up or they're pretty tough to take, man. And now that I'm gaining some age, it's starting to show a little bit. I hope that's not the sign of the future, but man, it's a tough business, man. It is a tough business. You know, the wrestler's shelf, their lifespan isn't long. All of us die young. Especially in the ring, their life, you get a 5-year, 6-year run. I see all these guys at these conventions and stuff that year. This is WrestleMania weekend, and there was a show, some type of a meet and greet, some type of autograph thing for 5 days before the WrestleMania and 5 days after, and I was on 3 of them. And I seen Sergeant Slaughter and this guy and that guy and the Nasty Boys. And those guys, the Nasty Boys, weren't going through tables. They were just regular wrestling, regular Vince McMahon sports entertainment style. And the blonde kid could barely walk. All of them at these conventions. And it was amazing, walking like this or slow, and you could tell something's wrong. Some guys can't even, it's just terrible. So that's another reason I'm trying to take care of my body, guys, is because, it's not that I was a referee for 20-something years. Then I went into managing and went with the ECW and all that. Then I got a little hardcore, started taking a little more bumps. But, man, these guys that take those slams every night, I don't care what people say. If I pick you up, Monty, and slam you, it's not natural. No matter how you fall, try to protect yourself, You taking thousands of slams in your career. You know how bad that is for your body. That's the problem, man. It's us up, man. But when we're doing it, we don't think that way. We're chasing a dollar. We're chasing that fame. We want to do good. We want to be the best.
Mr. Bill Alfonzo.
Hey, thanks, Daddy. I'm having my.
What's he doing? I can't see.
I'm shining, Daddy.
He's shiny. He's a
My,
little shiny.
my forehead,
He's got a
brother.
little
I'm
makeup on
my
there.
hair. I'm 64 years old, so a little pancake.
There's
keeps
nothing
the
wrong
shine
with
out,
that.
Daddy. Pancake.
Do you think anybody can ever topple Vince McMahon? Because that's certainly what AEW is trying to do.
Impossible.
Okay.
Nope. They can.
I tend to
try,
agree.
They can compete, but and they have a good product. You know, this guy's a billionaire, spending money. He's got good guys there. He's got good production people. He's got good cameras. He's got good bookers. He's got all that. But Vince has got 30 years ahead of him, 40 years ahead of him. How can you follow that? How can you follow WrestleMania? Impossible. Vince is the greatest sports entertainment promoter on the face of the planet, and nobody's ever going to touch him. And I wish AEW great success. And in fact, call me, Daddy.
There you go.
Fan Charles Wilson is asking, do you think ECW killed the business by having no rules during matches and catering to smart fans?
What's the kid's name?
Charles Wilson.
Hey, Charles Wilson, are you f***ing high? It enhanced the business. It enhanced the business. No, I don't think it hurt at all. I think it was a good product, and there was an audience out there. There was a market for it.
That's for sure.
So it proved itself. Listen, they're still talking about ECW today. They're still talking about the hardcore matches. They're still talking about Terry Funk and Sabu and the Bob Wire match. They're still talking about guys going through tables and all that stuff.
Quarter of a century later, yes.
Yes. So, no, I don't think it hurt us at all. At all. It enhanced the business, really. And I appreciate the question, but, you know, of course I'm going to stick up for ECW because I was a big part of it.
Damn.
I was with the whole show. And suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, Sabu. Hell yeah, Daddy. He said ECW put wrestling in a different eye. And then everybody copied us. Look, they just put Shaq through a table in Jacksonville, didn't they? Yes.
There you go.
All right, then shut the up.
You know what, a huge ECW fan. I saw you guys at a high school, for God's sakes, in the late 90s, okay? We weren't smart marks. We were dudes in leather jackets that were looking to smoke a bowl with RVD and Fonzie after the show, and we would watch the show at midnight on MSG. I didn't go on my computer. I didn't type away all day long deciding to break down the product. Dude, that's not how it was, man. That's not how it was.
We were amazing.
ECW was
we had never seen anything like this. We haven't seen a thumbtack match or a Taipei death match with a different. You haven't seen any of that.
Right.
So we didn't invent it, but it just formulated throughout our process of learning how to be hardcore.
Fonzie, do you think that sometimes the hardcore almost gets too much attention? Because quite honestly, there were some great wrestlers who came through those doors in ECW as well.
Everybody came through there.
Thank you.
I mean, it was great.
Thank you.
And everybody fit right in, and everybody loved it, and everybody wanted to go above and beyond duty, brother. Just like I said, I volunteered to go through a table. These guys are, the style, everybody went through there, and it was great.
So on social media,
revolutionized the business in a way.
Absolutely.
I got to hear the story. I see you on Judge Mathis. I don't know how old this video is, but it got really hot on social media with you and Missy Hyatt. What is the deal with that? Is Missy really like that?
Judge Mathis?
No, it was a shoot. What happened was Missy was dating a guy that managed a strip club, and Missy was beautiful, and she was just built, and she was really hot looking. And she just had bought a brand new white Porsche, and I had a Porsche too at the same time. So, the guy, Missy's boyfriend, was treating her like a stripper because he's a strip club manager. That's his mentality. So they would break up, and she'd call me up and say, "Fonzie, I broke up with my boyfriend. Would you go have a drink with me? Let's go have some lunch or something." I said, sure, Missy. Missy's been a friend of mine since, years ago. So we did. And then they'd get back together the next freaking day. And this happened about 3 or 4 times. So, and every time they'd get in a fight, she'd call me to console her, and then they'd get back together, which is all good. So she calls me, the phone rings, I pick it up, hey, Fonzie, I broke up with my boyfriend, and she's crying on the phone. She says, can we go have lunch? I said, of course, baby. She said, well, I'm in your driveway. So I come out, there she is, in a brand new freaking Porsche, not even 1,000 miles on it. And she said, you drive, Fonzie, because I'm too nervous. So I jump behind the wheel. I know how to drive a Porsche. I have one too, I had a 944 back. And so I was driving a car, and my phone rings. I'm talking on my phone. I'm trying to console Missy, and bumper-to-bumper traffic. Bam! And I smashed into the car. $10,000 in damage. Boom! Immediately. And I said, Missy, don't worry. We'll get it taken care of. You got full coverage insurance, and there's only a deductible. I'll pay for it. Don't worry. So the next day she calls me and says, hey, my agent said there was a cancellation on Judge Mathis. And we can go on there. They'll give us a talent fee. They'll give us a per diem. They'll fly us up, put us in a 5-star hotel, and we'll do one of the slots. She said, you want to do it? I said, okay. Any publicity is good publicity. And she wasn't mad at me, so we went up there, and you seen the thing was a big spill, and the judge, and the judge liked Missy Hyatt, if you know what I mean. He gave me his business card. He said, hey, Daddy, if you guys want, you can call me later, whatever. So we did the episode. It got high ratings. And you know how when you walk out after the judge decides the thing, Fonzie, you're guilty because you hit somebody from behind, it's your fault, you got to pay the deductible, but actually they pay for it. And then you go out after you leave the judge, and you walk out, and the guy interviews you. Say, hey, what do you think about the verdict? What's your opinion on the verdict, Mr. Alfonzo? And I said, well, I think it was one-sided because she had 2 big assets that I didn't have. That's why she won. And they aired that, and it was great. If you watch it, it's about 7 minutes long. Look up Missy Hyatt, Bill Alfonso, on Judge Mathis, and you'll see the finished product. It was pretty cool, and she's giggly and happy, and the judge loved it, and she was good. We were good for the camera, and we told the show. They have producers say, please, we've had, the judge is not in a good mood. We had 4 episodes already there. They tape 8 episodes a day when they're in season or whatever. And the judges die. I said, hey, we're in the wrestling business. You do your job, I'll do mine. And we did it really well. And it was one of his favorite episodes, Judge Mathis. He wrote it in whatever. One of my favorite episodes is Fonzie and Missy Hyatt.
There you go. One of my favorite wrestlers from back in the ECW days is the legendary Sandman. You got some stories, some memories of Sandman?
Well, I talk to Sandman all the time.
Okay.
I talked to him yesterday. I talked to him the day before yesterday. I talked to Todd Gordon all the time. He became one of my best friends. In fact, I was just on a 3-day tour with Super Crazy, Sandman, Fonzie, C.W. Anderson, and then their crew, the CCW crew. And we were just on a 3-day tour, and we had a blast. And Sandman rode with me every day. We hung out, and he's just pretty cool to hang out with. Yeah, I got some stories about Sandman. So we're coming back. We're somewhere in the Northeast. And the only reason I'm telling the story because it's true, and Sandman has told the story himself. So we're coming back from a show. We're driving to the next town. And Raven's driving. Sandman's in the front seat. Little Guido's here, and Fonzie's here. So there's 4 of us in the car. And Raven had got hurt, and they were giving him a real strong opiate for his pain. And Sandman says, hey, give me one of those. And he had been drinking all day, beer and this and that, and worked and took bumps. He was pretty banged up from the day. And Raven says, no, these are too strong for you, Sandman. I suggest you not take it. And Sandman insisted, so Raven gave him one. So we're driving along, and all of a sudden, Sandman starts going like this. He's sleeping, but he's snoring. He's like gasping for breath. I said, "Hey, Raven, look at Sandman, Daddy. He's having trouble breathing." He said, he's okay. I said, all right. About 5 minutes later, I said, "Hey, Raven, his lips are turning blue, Daddy. He's dying, right? He's not getting air. He's not ODing. He just can't breathe because something, whatever the it was." So we call 911. This is a pretty cool story. So we call 911 and we tell her what happened. He said, "Hey, my wrestling buddy was a wrestling match. He hit his head, so he took a pain medicine. He's having some type of reaction and he's not breathing. His lips are turning blue." And where you guys at? We said, "Well, we're on Interstate 85 headed north." And she says, "Well, what exit, what mile marker?" We said, "Mile marker 327. She said, "Well, get off on 328. We're going to have an ambulance meet you guys there." So it's about 2 miles ahead. So as we pulling off the exit, there's like 10 police cars. The lady, the 911 operator, misinterpreted, thought we were in some type of wrestling, like a street fight or like a big problem. But no, we're in wrestling. It was got hurt in wrestling, pro wrestling with Hulk Hogan. But they didn't know it. They thought we were. So all the cops rushed the car, and then we explained it to him. Hey, his wrestler, no big fight, just wrestling. He hit his head. He took a pain pill. So they end up doing the and they take him to the hospital. So, oh my God, this is terrible. So a couple hours later, here comes Sandman. We're all waiting for him, pacing back and forth. What the going on with Sandman? Is he dead or is he alive? So here comes Sandman walking out, and they gave him the shot of Narcan and brought him back to life, and all that was okay. And you know what Sandman said? He was mad at us. You know what he said?
What's that?
He said, "Hey, Daddy, you guys ruined my high." Sandman, your lips were turning blue, you idiot.
So how's your relationship with New Jack and Paul Heyman?
I just saw New Jack. We were at WrestleMania. I wasn't at WrestleMania, but we were doing the pre-shows there. And I saw New Jack. We hung out. New Jack is back. He's a good friend of mine. I love him. He is he's really New Jack. He's really bad. You know, what he says is really happened. He don't around. Paul Heyman, if you ask Paul Heyman, say, "Hey, Paul Heyman, throughout the big run in ECW, what was your favorite match? What was your favorite match, Paul Heyman?" And I was instrumental in helping Paul Heyman in the early 80s get his foot in the door. He already had his foot in the door, but I was assistant booker in Florida for Eddie Graham, Florida Championship Wrestling, and he came down with a guy named Tombstone, and he said, "Fonzie, you think I could..." Tombstone was leaving. He was going back to another territory, and Paul Heyman was trying to get his foot in the door as a manager. He said, "Hey, do you think I can manage Tombstone, because he's leaving in a couple of weeks. I can go to the ring with him for the last 2 weeks." And he had a pair of old jeans on, a pair of tennis shoes, and a t-shirt. I said, "Well, I didn't know his parents were wealthy. I didn't know he was educated. I didn't know he had money." I said, "Well, you can't go to the ring like that. That's for damn sure. Can you have money to buy a suit?" He said, "Oh, yeah." So I said, "Okay, you can come to the ring with..." And Tombstone was doing jobs for Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and at the end of each night, he was getting press slammed. Paul Heyman was getting press slammed by Razor Ramon, but he wasn't Razor, it was Scott Hall. So the instrumental would get him. So anyway, ask Paul Heyman, and there's been thousands of matches. I mean, great matches, world champions, Terry Funk, all kinds of spectacular matches. Shane Douglas, everybody was there. Eddie Guerrero, Van Dam, and Paul Heyman would say, "One of my top 3 favorite matches was Beulah and Fonzie."
I was hoping you were going to say that.
And we don't talk every day, but if I seen him, we did a double knockout at the airport, he'd be all over me, I'd be all over him. we're still good friends to this day. And Paul Heyman was very good to me in ECW. In fact, he matched my biggest payday, my one-time, like, say, you know, I'm not going to give you the exact figure, but I will give you the exact figure. I did WrestleMania 9, and I got paid, and I made $25,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we did our first pay-per-view in ECW, which was called Barely Legal, and it did real well. We were on our way. Got good ratings, got good buy rates, and Paul Heyman said, Fonzie, I got a problem. You know, it takes 3 months to accumulate all the money back then for the pay-per-view, so it takes a while for you to get your pay-per-view check. So when the money came in, Paul Heyman said, hey, I got a problem, Fonzie. I said, what, Paul? He says, I don't know what to pay you. You switched from Taz, you were in the main event, you did an angle, you were RVD and Sabu now. It's a big thing, it worked, we love it, but I don't know how much to pay you. And I don't know if he was asking me for my opinion on payment, but I said, well, why don't you pay me the same thing Vince paid me for WrestleMania 9? He said, deal. And I told him the number, and he wrote me a check, and I put it in the bank, and I was $25,000 richer. Thanks, Paulie.
Your Mount Rushmore. 4 faces. The Mount Rushmore of ECW. Who are the 4 faces you would put on a mountaintop for ECW?
All right. No doubt in my mind, Sabu. Suicidal, homicidal, genocidal Sabu.
Is one.
No doubt Paul Heyman. No doubt Sandman.
You only got one more.
Well, the last one is he is superhuman. Really, this kid is superhuman. Nobody can do the 5-star frog splash like RVD.
Thank you.
Eddie Guerrero, fantastic. But Van Dam is just, he's superhuman, and he's really bad. He's really bad. So that's my 4 right there.
There we go.
And an honorable mention for Todd Gordon, Sandman, and all these guys. But, you know, my guys are, you know, and of course me, honorable mention. I'm chiseled in the back, Daddy.
Yeah. We'll put a whistle next to those.
Hell yeah, Daddy.